Hello and welcome. My name is Tara, and in this video I'm going to be talking about mastering the mind and how with one thought we can change our reality. Now, this is a follow-up to a podcast that I recently published. The link is going to be below. Please follow it through to listen to the podcast as I do go into further information around why it's so important to master the mind and why awareness is key around the thoughts that we are living in. The thoughts that I'm talking about are our deeper thoughts, our belief systems that influence our daily thoughts, the way that we interact with things, the way that we react with life, the way that we feel and think about ourselves as well. So if you've been living with stress, if you've been living with worry, with doubt, with fear, you're not alone. This is a very, very common human condition that we all have in some degree, myself included. It is very easy to fall into stress. It is very easy to fall into negative thinking. It's very easy to lock ourselves within a certain thought or within a certain belief or within a certain perception about how our life is. The stress around money, the stress around finances, the stress around the future, even around relationships. Now, we can change our perception with a certain thought. If we are stressed around finances, if we are fearful of our future and fearful of our ability to create great success or worth or fulfillment or love, then we are limiting ourselves right from the start. And when our thinking is very negative and very limited, then we are holding ourselves back from finding solutions. We are holding ourselves back from creating more. For example, and I'm speaking from experience, this is going to be one of my own stories. For many, many years, I lived in lack mindset. Very low self-esteem, very low worth, very fearful of being able to create great success. Even though I knew deep down I could, and I knew that it was something I wanted, but I had so much resistance and so many false limiting beliefs within my subconscious that affected the way that I felt about myself, that affected the way I reacted and how I maneuvered in my outside world, that affected the choices that I made, that affected the way that I talk about myself, and that affected the way that I was seen in the outside world. Our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts initiate some kind of action. Our thoughts also send signals out to the universe. So if we have lack mindset, low worth, if we're stressed about money, if we're stressed about life, if there's fear around, I can't do this, what if, fear of the unknown, fear of the future, the resistance, even love, even being vulnerable, putting ourselves out there, we send those signals out to the universe in many ways, not just with our thoughts, but the way that we act, the way that we hold ourselves, the way we present ourselves. What we attract in return, law of attraction. Our reality is formed by a single thought. So it's very important that we take that thought or our thoughts and turn them into a positive and turn them into something constructive, or let the negative go. The fear, the loneliness, the lack worth, the stresses, the pressures. And remember also too that our thoughts create emotions, and then the emotions become very real. We get stuck in those emotions. And it's hard to get out because the emotions feel very real. So then we self-sabotage ourselves constantly by wallowing in things, by thinking negatively, by lowering our self-worth, by again sending signals out into the universe of what we really feel about our reality, what we truly feel about ourselves. So it's very important, again, thoughts create our reality in so many ways. It starts from the inside and then it moves out. It starts to create our reactions and interactions in the world and the relationships that we also are working through. So it will create a big impact with relationships, with our self-worth, with how we present ourselves again in all areas. So it's very important again, and this is not to come from a place of paranoia, to be constantly aware of the thoughts, even though the more awareness is key. Check in. If you're having a bad day and if you're going through a lot of stress and you're going through a lot of uncertainty or sadness or despair or fear or worry or lack, check in. Stop feeding it that thought. Stop feeding into that energy. Let it go. Let it go and move towards something more constructive. Move towards your future. Move towards opening up that doorway for creative solutions, for opportunity. Open the doorway to allow the universe to provide for you, to give you more. When we're restrictive, when we're stressed, when we're worried, when we're in lack, when we're low worth, low vibration, we're cutting off the flow for creation and expansion and synchronicities. The door is right there. We just need to open it. We need to open that door for more. We need to open the door for our future rather than getting stuck in the past or the fear or the negativity. And a lot of those thoughts and those feelings come from old, buried, limiting beliefs that we've had within us for our lifetime or more. It's difficult, it's hard work, but check in on a regular basis and just be aware. Awareness is key. Doesn't mean that we have to be constantly checking in every 5 minutes. Even if you want to, you can. That's totally fine. But it's just continual awareness and checking in. It's just like remembering to drink water every day. It's like that. Make it a daily habit of, where is my mindset at? Where am I limiting myself? Am I stressed out? Am I worried? Am I putting pressure on myself? Am I putting pressure on others? How am I feeling inside about myself, about my future, about relationships? Change it. Let it go. Move into something greater. Change it into a positive. Open the doors towards your future, towards change. Then things are going to find you. And you are going to have the creative solutions and insights for more. And if you find yourself in a lot of stress and pressure and worry and fear, remember that it doesn't exist. It comes from old programming within self. And I know it seems very real. And when you think of ourselves on a very expansive level of being beautiful soul beings, part of the grand universe, part of all that is, part of source, it is so expansive. And the more that we can let go of these old limiting energies of the 3D, the greater experience we are going to have. In the grand scheme of the universe, our problems are not even a speck of existence, not even a speck. But I know they feel very real, and I know it feels very daunting owning a lot of these stresses and pressures and strains and fears and worries and doubts and lacks. I've been in it my entire life, so I completely understand this. But I've had to work my way out of it and work my way out of it. And I'm more and more and more and more in the clear because of it. Also, too, the world is going through a major shift. But historically, there's been a lot of suffering on this planet, a lot. And I know it's difficult when certain moments arise of conflict in our world to date. It's very difficult to not give energy to that, to not feel sad, to not feel angry, to not want to somehow retaliate or feel the weight of the world. But it's not our energy to carry. And it's not your energy to carry. It's not my energy to carry. And when we bring ourselves down into the despair and the sadness and even anger, it's not helping the cause. It's not helping the cause to lower our vibration into wallowing and despair and hurt and pain and anger and revenge or whatever it is, because there's a lot of that energy happening right now. We are going to only help the cause by being in our light, by remaining positive, by remaining caring and empathetic. Yes, we can feel and we can observe, but when our energy is low, we are feeding into the negativity and the intensity of a lot of the things that are happening in the world. So it's up for us to remain in a positive state, to remain in a supportive place from a place of strength, from a place of love, from a place of compassion, and to raise everyone higher, not feed into the lower energy. And I know it's difficult. Sometimes it is very hard to ignore some of the issues that are happening in our world right now. There's a lot of change and there are a lot of very difficult changes that are happening. So again, we are only going to help by feeding the higher vibration, by feeding positivity, light, love, strength, and courage to work through this time. So I hope this video found you when you need it the most. Sometimes we just need a little pep talk to work out of some of the difficult situations, because again, we are right in the middle of an incredible transformation right now, and there's a lot of old energy cycling through a lot of us. And by that, I mean energy, beliefs, patterns, realizations. There are going to be many more awakenings and realizations moving forward. But as soon as there's an awakening or a realization, then change needs to happen. And it takes a while for change. And we need to work through change in a very constructive and positive way. The only way through it is going to be through healing, through transformation, from looking towards the future in a very positive and very constructive way within our own journey, but also within the collective. All right, so I hope that offered a little bit of encouragement and positive support for you at this time. And I will be seeing you very soon. Until next time, take care.